CashFlow Diary Podcast, episode 84.
Congratulations, you showed up. Give yourself a high five in celebration of your success. Welcome to the CashFlow Diary, where new and experienced investors come to take confident action towards their goals. Your host is a family man, a real estate entrepreneur, investor, coach, and instructor. As a master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's CashFlow 101 game, he's inspired many to begin their journey into creating cash flow for themselves and their family. And now, here he is to offer you the tools required to earn the income desired. Your cash flow coach, Jay Massey.
All right, and welcome to another episode of the CashFlow Diary Podcast. I am your host, Jay Massey, and you know what? I am so excited for today's show. Let me tell you why. Because many times you guys hear me say, you don't want to just make a dollar. You also want to make a difference. Don't just make a dollar, also make a difference. And I know you're like, Jay, we heard it before. Got it. Well, I've got today for you, the premier entrepreneurs who are striving behind this whole social entrepreneurial movement. And I'm hoping that you are excited to hear from both of them, as excited as I am to hear from them as well. Now, for those of you joining us for the first time, here's what I want you to do. I know you're like, man, I want to be able to go ahead and build some cash flow. I'm looking for some solutions. Can you help me, Jay? Yes, I can. Go straight over to learninvestingnow.com, learninvestingnow.com. When you get over there, there's a course waiting just for you for that specific purpose. Others of you, you're like, you know what? I'm done learning. I'm ready to start earning. Great. You're going to go over to begininvestingnow.com, and we will be able to get in contact with you and let you know about our cash flowing assets that you have the ability to obtain. Awesome. Now let's get about the business of not just making a dollar, but also making a difference. See, one of the greatest things that I enjoy about being a business owner is the fact that it affects so many lives, and we have such a pivotal role in the world that we can actually make a difference with what it is that we come up with to do. And today's guests, Josh and Lisa Lannon, both of whom, mind you, are Rich Dad Advisors on social entrepreneurialism, have started, run, are at the forefront. I mean, they're totally involved in this global trend of individuals demanding more from their life's work. And I love it because we can all work for the sake of work, but these guys, they work for what they call the triple bottom line: people, planet, as well as the profit. They're the founders of the Journey Healing Centers. Now, hear this: a private adult drug and alcohol treatment program that was recently acquired by a venture capital backed company in 2013. This is exciting. So could you imagine taking your idea from concept to cash, and then more importantly, being able to resell that same idea, that business, over to another company, so much so that they would pay you a significant sum of money and you still walk away with cash flow? Now you're probably understanding why they are today's guest, and most importantly, what I would call the forefront, the four leaders of the whole movement behind social entrepreneurialism. I want you to welcome Josh and Lisa Lannon. Josh, are you guys there?
We are.
Thank you, Jay, for having us on.
I am so glad that you are here. Thank you for investing your time here with us. And we do hope that the short time that we do have will be able to produce a return. Now,
and thank you so much for the introduction. Anytime we get an opportunity to spend time with you, we're learning as well. So we're just honored and really grateful to be part of your program.
Thank you. It's been amazing. I think it's been 3 or 4 years now that we've been getting to know each other. And it's just, I remember the first time we met, and the audience won't be surprised that it was at a cash flow game. That's right. The first. It's like, go figure. But I just remember how much you guys, were a help already then. You're still a help now, and I was just blown away by the whole idea that there was someone else out there who was thinking, I don't want to just make dollars. I also want to make a difference with my business. And I just appreciate you guys being, who you are.
Awesome. Thanks.
Now, one of the things that I often say is I say that to nearly everybody is that I look at today's entrepreneurs like yesterday's superheroes. So yesterday's superheroes, you've got, Ghost Rider, you got you could say Adam Ant to a degree, but you also got Superman and Batman and the X-Men, and you got all of these superheroes. But what they all have in common is an origin story. They all started somewhere. Before they were super, they were just people. And what I loved to know, and I think what everybody else want to know, is that before you guys were Rich Dad Advisors on social entrepreneurialism and before Journey Healing Centers, before all of that, who were Josh and Lisa?
Man, what a great question. You definitely would not have had us on the podcast.
Okay, got it. So there was a transformation somewhere along the way. I can't wait to find out about what that is.
Well, there is. I mean, it's part of growing up, it's part of maturing, but it's also part of the process. Just to learn the entrepreneurial skills, even when we first started, we didn't know anything. So we made tons of mistakes and we just kept learning, kept growing. And that really is the basis of our journey, is just learning from mistakes, growing, changing, and having that social calling, that why, as the foundation to keep us in motion.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, everyone has an origin. Everyone has a story of where they started. And it's really about looking back and seeing what touched our hearts or what made us upset or what is our passion or what's going to drive us to move forward and build businesses or invest in real estate or do whatever we want to do that makes sense, makes a difference in the world, and provides cash flow.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like the Rich Dad BI triangle, the foundation, the bottom of the triangle is the mission. What's the mission? What's the why? Why are you doing what you're doing? And if it's just money, man, that's a drug. Really, you're just chasing the drug. So what's the higher calling? What's the purpose? And like Lisa said, it could be something that really it pisses you off. And that's okay. Something that drives you or something that you're in love with. So to find that balance between it's either love or hate that can drive that motivation, drive that mission, really starts to create that change. So we'll tell you just a little bit about it, because it's so significant to our journey, is that I was running nightclubs in Las Vegas. I grew up in that industry, so I grew up pretty fast, being around as a small kid, adults that I looked up to that were drinking and partying. And, I just wanted to be a part of that. I didn't know any better. So I grew up in the industry. I was pretty good at it, ran a couple clubs in Las Vegas, Sin City. We were the #1 country nightclub in Las Vegas at the time. And that's when I met Lisa. She came in, she used to do the line dancing. I fell in love with her. But it took me a little while to build up the courage to go talk to her.
Yeah, it was, went into the nightclub and I call it stalking. He stalked me for about a year before he finally introduced himself.
I call it market research as an entrepreneur, but
either way, okay, I got it. But you eventually closed the deal.
I eventually closed it, yes. Because one of the #1 skills every entrepreneur must have is sales skills. So thank goodness, because I'm not that good a looking guy. So I turned up my sales skills, and thankfully she said yes. We went on a date, and geez, we've now been together for
19 years
and married for
14.
As I look at her,
you're like, I need a calendar real quick. Someone please feed me my line. No, I totally understand. This is good. Keep going.
And Lisa, she followed her passion as well with her father. You want to tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, my father, Vietnam War vet, came back and became a police officer. And so, I grew up in South Dakota, moved to Las Vegas when I was 20, wanted that bigger, more exciting lifestyle, finished college and went through the police academy, became a police officer, and was an officer for a number of years while Josh and I dated.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I got my get out of jail free card, which is awesome for me.
Yeah, but so, I'm still confused. So you're saying that South Dakota didn't have an exciting lifestyle?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot to do there. It just wasn't exciting enough for me.
Well, there's Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah,
and the Corn Palace.
And the Corn Palace and Wall Drug and.
Wow. And then you're done. Okay, got it. Now, back to Vegas. You were saying, Josh.
Yeah, so I was running these successful clubs, but I'm honestly, I'm an introverted person. I'm quiet. I don't like the spotlight. So I would drink to self-medicate to kind of get into the mode of things. The problem was once I closed the club down, I didn't know how to stop. So I'd continue drinking, and that eventually led to a real problem where it was controlling my life. And our marriage was on the brinks of falling apart. Physically, I was just beat up. It just wasn't working.
Yeah, I would go to work and I would deal with drug addicts and alcoholics and people that committed crimes all day long. And
My
then,
customers.
yeah, Josh's customers. And then I'd go home and deal with his addiction as well. And I never knew how to feel in our relationship. After a while in our marriage, I gave a part of me away. And how I felt was based on if he was sober, if he was drunk, if he was home, if he was not. And it just wasn't healthy. It wasn't a healthy lifestyle for us. So one day I came home and I gave him the ultimatum to either go to rehab or I was going to divorce him.
And that was the lifeline I was really looking for, because from the outside world, everything looked fine. Middle class house, even though we were financially broke, we had the nice cars, had a decent house. So everyone thought that things were going great, but behind the closed doors, it was a disaster. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, it was falling apart. So when she threw me the lifeline, I wanted it to change. I just didn't know how. So when she did, it's like, okay, I'm in. My way's not working. Let's do it. So checked into rehab, did 28 days, did a lot of healing also with Lisa, a lot of therapy. And that started in essence, the exposure to what a social entrepreneur is. So I became friends with the owner of the program that I went through, and he planted a seed. He goes, when I was drinking and partying, all I wanted to do was open up restaurants. He goes, now that I'm sober, all I want to do is open up treatment centers. Maybe you'll be the same. I thought, no, I didn't connect with it at the time. But after I got out of the program, I went back to work in the nightclubs. And at that point, it was different. Spiritually, I could no longer be part of the problem. No longer could I really hook people up for one night stands and be proud of it, because that was our business model. Get them drunk, hook them up for a night. They'll tell all their friends and they'll come back. And it's like, I can't do it anymore. There's got to be something more. There's got to be a reason why I'm still alive. There's got to be a reason why Lisa and I have gone through all of this. What is it? And we started to follow the promptings. It's weird. It's almost like not religious, but on a spiritual levels, we just started to listen and go, what am I supposed to be doing here?
Yeah. And the night he got out of rehab, we were introduced to Robert Kiyosaki's series, Choose to Be Rich. And there's a saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And when Josh talks about the promptings, I think it's the same with our coaches, our teachers, and our mentor. We were ready for something new, even though at that moment, Josh wasn't thinking about rehabs, but a new teacher came into our life, and that opened the door for a whole new world for us.
Yeah, the teachings of Kiyosaki started to give us the financial foundation, if you will, to start building our dream. We didn't know it at the time. We just knew that we liked Kiyosaki, we liked what he was talking about, so we started studying more and more and more. And out of forming that BI triangle, then it became clear. It's like, well, hold on a second. We have a past, we have a history of addiction. I think I can do a pretty good job building a center. We know management, we have leadership skills. Why not? So, and the pieces started to come together, knowing nothing about the field, not having any degrees as a counselor, not having any money, just this vision and this mission and this passion. We said, we're going to take it on. And we took the leap of faith.
Yeah. And we knew something had to change. We knew he couldn't stay in the nightclub business anymore. And by having that passion, that vision, addiction pissed us off.
It did. Yeah.
I mean, I was angry for a number of years going through it. And I knew we could make a difference in the world. I knew we could be the change for a number of families and lead them through that transformation as well.
And that became our mission, to get the person you love back. Everything was based on that, because Lisa, all she wanted was her husband back. All I wanted was myself back. And when we started to talk to other families that were struggling with addiction, it was like, man, I just want my mom back. I just want my brother back. I want the person I love back. And that really became the foundation. It wasn't money. It was never money. It was, this is our social purpose.
Wow. I'm having so many emotions right now, because many people know we talk about a concept here at the CashFlow Diary about investor identity. And I say that the keys to figuring out where you need to invest have a lot to do with who you are, how you grew up, and the experience you've had in the past.
Absolutely.
that's I mean, I grew up in not the best of situations, not the best of housing, and it wasn't always well kept. And that's part of what creates my desire to create clean, safe, affordable housing for people that need it when it matters most. And you're saying the exact same thing and that's what's amazing to me. So many times I think entrepreneurs, or we as entrepreneurs, we shortcut our vision, our purpose, because we're chasing that dollar that you called a drug. I was like, oh, that was golden right there. Because many of us do that. We do that. We chase it like it's a drug. I need my fix. I got to have my fix. And it's got to be every 2 weeks. And it's got to be the same amount. And at some point, I get used to that amount. And it needs to increase. And it's a very similar pattern to those, I would assume, to those who end up with an addiction to a substance. Yes?
Oh, well, totally. I mean, maybe at an unconscious or subconscious level, employers know this. So they screw with your paycheck, they screw with your time, and they have control over people. You threaten someone's paycheck, you watch the addict in the person come out. It's really, I mean, it's shocking when you look at it from that point of view. Go, oh my goodness, look how dependent this person is on that paycheck.
And it's because they're not financially educated. They don't have the resources to look for other ways of making money.
That's why we love what you're doing, is you're educating people to get off the drug. You know.
Indeed, to go out there, learn to create some value. I like how you said sales skills are a must. That's very, very true. Now, you said something else, and I thought it was interesting because you both talked about the same day. You said there was a judgment day, if you will. Lisa called it an ultimatum. You called it a lifeline. I find that to be an interesting way to view the exact same event. Could you talk a little bit about that difference?
Sure. Yeah, for me, my ultimatum, or my judgment day, the decision point, I was ready to take a stand for me. I'd given a piece of myself to the addiction and I was done with it. It was time for me to stand up for myself again, to be that independent woman, and to give Josh the choice. You can either come with me down this path, this marriage, and we can build a beautiful life together while you're sober, or you can choose to go down your own path. But either way, it was an ultimatum given to Josh, and I let him choose if he wanted to come along or not. But it was really taking a stand for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, it really was a fork in the road. It was that pivotal decision point in life. I think that we all come to some point or other where it's like, okay, I know if I go this way, it's going to take my life in this direction. And if I go this way, it's going to take my life in that direction. Not right or wrong, but a choice. And at that point, I wanted to choose into our marriage. I wanted to choose into life. I didn't like what I had become. So it was a lifeline. And it was like, thank you, Lisa, for having the strength to love me enough to say enough is enough. And I chose in.
It sounds like you were looking for a reason to quit. You were looking for that something, anything that would say, yes, okay, this is a good time this gives me the best excuse, quote unquote, to say no more. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And now, so here the question becomes, how do you make the switch from, all right, my problems are solved, to, hey, I bet I could solve other people who have had the same problem? How does what is that evolution in terms of thinking? How does that happen?
Well, and a lot of it comes from the Rich Dad philosophy, and the principles is we learn is that an entrepreneur is to be generous. And in that, we said, okay, in order for me to stay sober, I have to give it away. I have to create an environment for other people to get sober in. So how do we do that? Well, let's build a treatment center. Okay, well, what do we do for that? Well, we got to raise the capital. So we just started going through the steps on being generous and employing people and providing opportunities for other people. Our call center, we opened a 24-hour free help hotline. Any question you have about addiction or side effects, or I think my loved one's using, call us free of charge, and we will give it to you out of reciprocity and out of generosity. And the business was really built off giving it away for free, which is just, you think about it, doesn't make sense, but it's true.
Yeah, and there was a lot of learning along the way to get to that point. But for us, it was being open, trusting the process, being willing to make mistakes, and follow the advice of our coaches and mentors. And at the time, a lot of our advice just came from the different books we read. What worked, what didn't work, how do you build a business, what's cash flow, what's the BI triangle. So just following all these different paths of self-education and knowing that this is where we want to go. This is our passion. We're going to build this for ourselves and to assist others at the same time.
And that was difficult because the environment that we were in supported our old lifestyle.
Right.
And this is a key point, is that it's difficult to change environments. You want to change your life, you got to change your environment. So we thought, okay, at first, our house. Let's just start changing what's in our house, what's on our walls. Okay, let's slowly start separating ourselves from our drinking buddies and start creating new friends that have similar goals and aspirations of self-improvement and wanting to improve their lives. And the friendship one was the hardest to move away from. And so the more we could control our environment, the stronger then our momentum started to build.
Interesting. Now, there's something in this that and I don't know that you guys are aware, but I get this question all the time. It's specifically when it comes to Jay. How can I even, because they're asking it of themselves, but they're asking to me. They're like, Jay, I can't raise capital because I don't have any experience. I've never done these things. This isn't. I mean, who's really going to give me money for, in my case, real estate is what they're asking. They're like, who's really going to give me money for real estate? So I got to ask, because it sounds like you guys I'm sure you've had that thought at least once, especially at the beginning. So I'm kind of curious, how did you manage to do two things? First, because you've said it twice now. You said, A, you were willing to make mistakes. What I find is most people want to run from them. And then two, how on earth did you raise capital with no experience? Okay, I'm laughing because you are eagerly awaiting the answer to that question. You want to be able to raise capital using no experience. And I'm going to get you back to the interview. Yes, 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 yes. So, with all that being said, I want to make sure, though, to interrupt this moment in time to make sure that all of you who are out there listening and are already customers of a Cashflow Diary product, you understand that we are doing a special event just for you guys this Saturday. This Saturday, be there. No, I'm kidding. But no, really, be there. We're going to talk about lead generation. I'm going to show you all the techniques that I know how to use to go out there and generate leads. And understand this. It's based upon the low cost to no cost strategies, because those were the ones that I grew up in business with. Those are the ones that I understand. Those are the ones that I still use to majority today, because that's what I know how to do. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you are properly notified and registered for the VIP day this particular Saturday. We are going to be there letting you know about lead generation. All the tools, tips, techniques that I've got will be there live. I'll be answering your questions. You're going to want to be there live. Yes, it's being recorded, but you will not have access to the recording under normal circumstances. However, I will say this one special thing I'm very excited about that I can't let you know until you're there. I've got something really special for you that you're all going to love, and you're going to be the first ones to know about it. So make sure that you guys are there. Wanted to make sure that you had that information. Now you're like, okay, could you please get me back to the part to where they tell me how to raise capital? No problem. Here you go.
It wasn't easy, I'll tell you that. And it was a process. And we got laughed out of a number of banks. And at best, we were told, here's a credit card, go on your way. And it was like, it was crushing at first. And it's just like, okay, what did we learn? How do we improve? How do we change our pitch? What's in the business plan? And continue to evolve, because really the advice from the traditional financial institutions was, you really should go back to school and get a degree to become a counselor and then come talk to us. And I was like, I don't want to be a counselor. I was a bartender for many years. That kind of qualifies me.
Close enough. Yes.
But I want to hire. I want to be a business owner. I don't want to be a self-employed person. So their context was very different too. So do you want to expand upon that, how the journey was?
Yeah. So we would go into bank after bank after bank. And, by the second no, we thought we're not going to get any money from the banks, because they would ask us the question, what are your degrees? Well, you need to go back to school. And they said, well, maybe a small business loan. So they'd hand us these large applications. And that's not what we wanted. We wanted control of our business. We didn't want the SBA to be making any decisions for us or how we ran it. And we got to the point we would just go into the bank for practice while we figured out how can we raise money some other way, because obviously the traditional banking way was not going to work for us.
Yeah, so we finally found what we call like a private wealthy, like an angel investor. And the gentleman was in his 80s. We do lay this out in detail in our book of how we did it and some tips and that sort of thing in the book, The Social Capitalist. But to summarize it, we had this meeting. His name was Arvist, and he threw us out of the office the first time because he said the business plan was terrible. And he was right. It was terrible. But we went and we kept making corrections. It kept going back and kept going back. And finally he goes, you're not going to stop, are you? I said, no, sir, I'm not. What he didn't know is he was the only guy that would actually give us another meeting.
But that wasn't important at the time. He didn't need to know that. No, don't tell him that.
Of course not, sir.
And to go back, the first time we got kicked out of his office, how terrible our business plan was, we didn't even know how much money we wanted. So that was one of our huge mistakes when we went to him. We didn't even know that. That's how green we were, how new we were to raising capital.
So he finally just asked us, he goes, son, your plan still sucks, but you're not going to give up, are you? I said, no, sir, I'm not. He goes, well, tell me why. Why do you want to be in this business? So Lisa and I told him. We told him what we've been through and just laid it on the table for him. Said, this is why we want to build this business. And he goes, in business, people are going to tell you no. They're going to slam doors on you. They're going to kick you while you're down. But the ones that succeed are the ones that keep getting back up, knocking off the dust, and keep moving forward. He goes, you have that, and I was testing you. And because you kept coming back, I'll loan you the money. And he goes, now your plan, again, still sucks, and I expect you to clean that up. But I'm investing in you and Lisa. And it was like, and that was $1.5 million. Wow. It was like, it was like tears instantly. And it's like, gotta hold that in, be professional. But we couldn't help it because it was like, this guy's going to give us a shot. And everything in his business sense is saying no, but what he invested in was people.
And to tag off of that with the raising capital and your other question of making mistakes, it was our why that kept us going, our purpose, our passion. And that's really, in a social entrepreneurial business, it's that purpose, that why, that passion, that reason you're doing what you do because you love it so much that keeps you going through all the mistakes, through all the no's, through all the being kicked out of banks and offices. That's the driver, that why.
Oh. And I want to say it again because it's an important part of raising capital is deals come and go. Money, we make money, we lose money, but it's people. Ultimately, it's the person's character that people invest in. I want to trust you. I want to know when I call you, you're going to pick up the phone, you're going to give me a straight answer, whether it's right or wrong. And that's, I think, what people are really looking for is to build a team of people that they can trust. And ultimately, so you got to look at your own creditworthiness, your own character, your lifestyle, and your values, and go, man, am I the type of person that I want to be in business with?
Wow. I hope everyone is listening. How many times did they say things like FICO score, experience, degrees, even to that matter, sales skills? I mean, right now, all of us have such an advantage. We can at least, worst case scenario, if you just watch Shark Tank every week, you know that you got to know how much money you need, which is great. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Once you've made the decision, once you have a desire that's big enough, the facts absolutely don't count. And that's what you've just heard. They had a desire that was big enough. It wasn't just about money. It was about so many more things. It was about all those nights when either Lisa was crying or Josh was crying, and they're like, no, there are other families that we can go and help. And that's exactly, you're probably hearing more excitement in my voice right now than ever, because these guys, I remember when I met you guys, I was just like, wow, they're like me. Yay.
Yeah.
They care about their customer way more than it is about the income or the money. That's not why they're doing it. Now, don't get me wrong. We love to count the dollars when it's time to do those things. However, that's not the reason that we are out there slaving away, figuring out how to do what it is that we do and provide the services that we provide. And these are the things that I get excited about in so many ways. Now, we got to switch a little bit. Out after the passion, after you get past that, how do you get to the business that some venture capitalist firm actually wants to purchase in some way or shape or form? I mean, you've got to build a team. You've got so much to learn in accounting. You got to refine your product and your service. You got to share with us, what is your magic secret?
Well, it's not magic. It's the BI triangle. We've really used that as the foundation and as the building blocks to build our business. So we started with one location, and we branched to 2 locations, then 3 locations. Then we said, okay, for us to truly be moving from a S to a B, because we're still overseeing all of it, let's go into multiple states. And when we expanded in multiple states, it put more pressure on that BI triangle. Is our systems in place? How's our communication, internal and external communications? How is that functioning? And it was test, break, repair, test, repair, test. And it was always just an adjustment and correction. So in 11 and a half, almost 12 years, we ended up with 6 locations in multiple states with about 100 staff. And again, it was the BI triangle that did it for us.
It was. Our mission stayed the same. We had a strong mission, Josh and I being the leaders, and we built a strong team.
Yep.
And after 11 and a half years, 12 years, our team was so strong, and we had great communication, great marketing, great PR, and built enough relationships in the industry that when this company called us, they said, "You're on the top of the list. We'd like to look at buying you guys." And it was just going back to our formulas and always redefining and always seeing where we can improve and strengthen our systems and strengthen our team that really did it.
So, and this was our social calling was the drug and alcohol rehab side of it. Our business is real estate. It's very different context. So Lisa owns the real estate portfolio. I'm the business owner. I own the operations. And she set up a property management company that handled the lease agreements between us. One, it's for wealth preservation, and 2, asset protection and tax strategies. And there's all the business reasons why we set it up this way. So in the operations, I went from managing 12 to 6 to 3 to finally to 1 where we had a COO that oversaw the company. Now, it took a long time to get there, but through the organizational charts, we just continue to strengthen, do a lot of team buildings, do a lot of team trainings, team events. So our culture was really strong and our structure became strong. So when they called, the venture capital company called and said, "Look, we're very interested in who you guys are and what you do. We want to make you an offer." The reason why they did that is because they knew I could walk away because I wasn't managing the facilities anymore. We had a team in place. So they were really purchasing the team. And I said, "Okay, I'd like to entertain your offer. However, I want you to know that the real estate is leased. It's not for sale." And they go, "That's perfect. We don't want it anyways." I go, "Oh, well, here's our leases. Here's the rent that we pay." And they go, yep, that makes sense. We disclose that there is an affiliation there, and they were fine with it. So they purchased all of the operations, the IP, the names, our business, our passion, if you will, and left us with the real estate holdings.
Yeah. And, when we looked at building the business and made that decision to do it that way, all of our books, it showed for the last 10, 11 years, long-term leases. So it wasn't something we did at the very last minute. It was something designed from the very beginning.
Yeah, we did it right from the beginning of the structure.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, some of you are right now wondering, how can I do that? Well, here's a simple idea, simple transition, same idea. Because this is one of the reasons I personally like the idea of gas stations and convenience stores, because they're often separated. Same thing with providing real estate to those that are franchises. This is the exact same strategy, except they did all the pieces of it. They built the business, they quote unquote made the additional locations, and they kept everything separate. And as you can tell, it was definitely a lot of work. Now, one of the things that I find unique, and I think this is just unique among entrepreneurs, or at least those that are the most successful, is that you didn't really, you started at the end of the day. You didn't have a clear plan. It didn't really matter but you didn't let that stop you. You didn't know where the money was coming from, and you didn't let that stop you. You didn't even really understand all that you wanted to do, but none of that made a difference. What mattered is that you got started in going down the path. I'm kind of curious, where on earth did that, I can move forward without seeing the whole staircase. I can take the first step without understanding every path. Where did that come from?
What's funny is maybe that's the blessing of not being smart.
Yeah,
Because
I
the
do
smarter
that.
people are, the more complex it becomes. And this may sound simplistic, but there's a lot of truth to it. There's a popular movie called Forrest Gump. And we simply followed those principles of, when we read something in the book, we go, okay, let's go see if we can apply that principle. Does it make sense? Yep. Okay. And we went out and did it. And when our mentors, shared with us some advice that resonated with us, even though that we were scared and we had our doubts, we still went, okay. And we went out and did it again. It really was that, not that simple, but we just kept saying yes and faced our fears and kept moving forward.
Yeah, I try to tell people that the one thing I know for myself, that is a very, very true thing. I was like, maybe I was too stupid to know any better, so I just did what I was told.
Exactly.
That I didn't know what else to do, so I'm gonna do what he said, because hey, I got no better idea. So sounds great. And lo and behold, oh, that worked. Cool. Maybe we should do that again. And I love those principles of test and break. And that's one of the things that I hope many people heard, because oftentimes, they say to me, they say, I can't do real estate in my own local area. Well, the only reason you can't go outside your local area is because you don't have systems in place to help you expand further than just, a right around the corner. But you went out there and created those systems. You went out there and made a system, a business model that could, in theory, be worldwide if you took the time an investment to grow it that way, because you had a very simple system that anyone else could step into and make happen. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I also I hear in your story is, and this is, I hope those listening, you'll hear what I mean, because oftentimes I say that the major difference that real estate has over most other businesses is that they have proof of concept. It's very easy for other people to see that, hey, we're going to buy real estate and people are going to live, work, play, or lay there. But yet you were doing something that was completely different. You were raising money for a business, and you had to keep proving your concept to so many, I don't even want to know how many, but it was a lot of people, and you did it. What gave you the courage? Because some people, they hear one no from one person, they quit, but you heard no's from many different people. And the key thing that I hope they heard in that part of your story was that you eventually made the decision that going to the bank was practice. And I love that, because then it relieved the pressure, it relieved all those other things. But I'm curious as to how you got to the point to go, you know what, let's just go practice today.
That's where one of our mentors, Blair Singer, talks about there's two different types of skills in business. There's the business skills or business development, and there's also personal development. So in this journey, our personal development process, I guess originally started as once I went into rehab. And at that point, I could tell what's getting in the way of my dreams is me. It's not my mom, it's not my dad, it's not, all that stuff that I was holding on to. It's me. So it's like, okay, Lisa, do you want to go on this personal development journey with me? And she's like, absolutely. So what we did is we made a commitment as a couple that we will start going to personal development seminars and reading books and doing things together as a couple so we can grow together. Otherwise, if like I'm really into the personal development and she's not, I would start drifting away from her. So it's like, no, let's do this. Let's hand in hand. Let's go to personal development. And that's what really helped us through all those no's and the tough times of building the business.
Yeah, and I like the saying, in order for things to change, first I must change. And when we hear the no's or we hear people say you can't do that or that's stupid or why are you doing this? You've got a safe and secure job. It's that inner drive of knowing that I want to change. I want something different in my life. And I've got to be willing to take that chance, to take that leap of faith. And it does start with personal development because there's been so many times we were told, no, you can't do that or that's stupid, that we should have just went back to work and kept our jobs. But it's that inner drive, that inner willingness to want something different in our lives that kept pushing us through all of the no's.
That's a good point because Lisa, especially in the police department, that's security there. I mean, it's safe security. You got a pension coming. Man, she got it from left and right from all of your colleagues is, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And you'll be back and da da da. And she had to overcome that from her friends and fellow officers. And it can be difficult.
It can, but I didn't tell them until I was ready to leave.
Right.
I didn't, and sometimes that's a key formula too, is
Until you made the commitment.
Till you've made the commitment and you know it's a go.
Yeah. Yeah. That is, it's amazing how sometimes the those that we are surrounded by are while they may be well-meaning, they just, maybe in their own fear, or maybe because I haven't figured that one out yet. Because there are times where I think they're just afraid or they're just trying to protect me. I'm not really sure what motivates us to do that for our friends when when our friend is the one trying to move forward. Do you guys have any insight? I'm kind of curious what you think.
I think you hit it right on the head. A lot of it is that it's their fears, their own stuff, and they don't want you to either go away from them or move away, or they're afraid to take that leap of faith themselves.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, I'm always looking, okay, how am I accountable? How am I responsible? Why am I asking this particular person for this particular question if it's out of their context? Like, I mean, I have friends that I love, but say the person's 300 pounds, I'm not going to go to them and say, can you tell me about working out and eating healthy? It just doesn't make sense. So if you go to an employee and say, I want to be an entrepreneur, it's such a different context. You're really kind of setting yourself up. So it's like, be careful who you ask particular questions to. Ask the right person.
I agreed. It's funny how that can be the case because oftentimes we do that. And I get this all the time. People will ask me. It comes in a different form. They'll say things like, hey, Jay, is this a good investment? And they're looking at something I've never invested in. I'm like, I don't know. I haven't done that one. But, are you any good at doing high-rise buildings? Because I'm not. I don't know. And you got to consider the source of the information, etc. You guys have, it's just been mind-blowing, and it just reconnected me to a lot of the reasons why we do what we do, and I definitely appreciate the time. I'm kind of curious for those who want to find out more of everything that you guys are doing now and what you might be doing in the future. What's the best way for us to find more of Josh and Lisa?
Well, we have a couple different ways. One is our Facebook page. So we both have our own page.
Josh Lannon, Lisa Lannon. Yeah.
I think there's a 1 after our names, Josh Lannon 1, Lisa Lannon 1. And then we also have our website, thesocialcapitalistbook.com, and you can sign up there, and we're a little behind on newsletters and stuff like that, but that's a good starting point.
Yeah. Facebook probably has the most interaction.
Yeah.
Got it. Excellent. So let me ask this. Go back for a moment and pretend you're talking to a person, that version of you, years ago, and you're now that superhero today, but you're talking to the person who will eventually become who you are today. What would you say to him or her to help him or her continue to move forward?
That's a great question. And we watched a video by Steve Jobs. He did a speech at Stanford, and I highly recommend you guys just Google it. I think it's on YouTube. And it's really powerful, especially because Steve's no longer with us. And he says you really can't make sense in life looking forward. You can only make sense of life looking back and connecting the dots. And what I would say is to look back in your past and to connect the dots and see it as a gift. That is a guide for the future, for who you are and maybe what your social calling is. We all have a passion and purpose, but it's difficult sometimes to see it and to identify it. So if you look back in your life, kind of like a lifeline, and go, okay, why did these particular things happen to me, or my family, or what were the great things that happened, or what pisses me off, or what do I love to do? Look back, and I think that could really provide a roadmap for your future. And once you feel it, you just kind of know, trust it. Trust that intuition. Be willing to make mistakes. Surround yourselves around people that will support your dream, and go for it, man. Just go for it.
Yeah, and I would say follow your dreams. Always remain curious and ask questions. When people say, or when you have a question or someone says you can't do that, to ask yourself, well, how can I? Because maybe that person can't, but you can. And growing up, my dream was to travel the world. I never knew how I was going to get there, and I took many different paths. It turned out following my passion of healing people from addiction was my way of traveling the world. So always have your dreams in mind, and the path to get there may not look like how you want it to, but remain curious and ask yourself, how can you get there?
Awesome. Thank you guys for your time investing here with the Cashflow Diary. We definitely appreciate everything that you've had to share.
You're welcome. We got hours more to share with you, but man, this was great. This was a great time.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. This was awesome.
Awesome. Guys, gals, you know what it's time for. It is time for you to move at the speed of instruction. You've been given some very specific direction, lots of inspiration, and most importantly, go pick up the book because it will give you more details. You want to know how to raise capital and have a big passion? Guess what? There's a book about it. Now you know where to go pick that up and make those things happen. You guys, I don't know how to say it any cleaner than they have already said it. So hopefully you understand what you must now go do. I look forward to talking to you, all of you, again soon. Until next time.
Thank you for investing your time with Jay Massey and the Cashflow Diary. When you have a moment, please visit iTunes and leave a positive comment about the show. And go now to our website, CashFlowDiary.com, to take advantage of our free business building course, Cashflow Foundation. Gain the knowledge, understanding, and skill that will teach you how to never need a job again. Until next time.